I'm Heidi.
I'm Benner.
And we decided to make this video for anybody who is struggling with infertility, just because we wanted to help and tell you guys what worked for us. A lot of people have been asking what we did to get pregnant with Marley, and we just decided it'd be a good idea to share.
So we tried to get pregnant back in 2014.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
a couple months after we were married. And nothing was working, so we decided to go to the doctor, see what we could do. Discovered that I had PCOS. I know my sister had it, and so it is a genetic thing that runs in the family. So now that I had PCOS, he gave me something called metformin, and I took it kind of naively, not really knowing much about it, just because the doctor told me to do it. So I thought that it would work. Took it for a good 9 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just feeling super sick all the time. I'd come home and I'd want to throw up. And I remember just complaining all the time to Benner. Sorry, if you hear that in the background, that's Marley. Yeah, I'd come home and I'd just be super sick all the time. Wasn't working. And, it didn't work for me. It could work for other people, but this is just my experience with it. So, 9 months after that, we decided to go see an infertility specialist. And so he put me on something called Fermera. And Fermera is something that gets you to ovulate. And just backtracking to the whole PCOS issue, this is why I couldn't get pregnant, is because I had PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. And basically what that means is there's little tiny cysts all over your uterus, and they're premature, they're not developed yet. In order to get pregnant, you have to have eggs. So they were just premature eggs. So that kind of basically what Fermera does, is helps it to grow. So I took Fermera. And that was one thing that helped. Another thing that made a huge difference was, where is it? Something called the basal body thermometer. And this thing is great. Even if you don't have PCOS and you're trying to get pregnant, this thing is awesome. This is how it works. You take your temperature in the morning, first thing when you wake up. And you chart it down. So you could either do it old-fashioned way and paper and pencil every day. Or you could get an app, that's what I did, and just chart it every time you wake up and take it, boom, done. And you will notice your temperature will do a dip and then a rise, and that means that you have ovulated. The first month you won't know because you can't predict when you're gonna have a dip or a rise, but after the first month you'll know if you have ovulated or not. And if you aren't ovulating, then that's, this kind of tells you. And it's super cheap. I picked this up, I think I got it on Amazon for $7-8, so it's super cheap. So this is one way we kind of kept track. The other way was OPKs, which are good. They do not recommend it if you have PCOS. I didn't care. I just decided to do it anyways. And I would take it daily. They say you shouldn't take it when you have PCOS because it could give you a false negative or a false positive. But I mean,
Keep going, Heidi. Keep going.
okay. So I did that, and then I also changed my diet, also Benner's diet, because we didn't know if he had any issues. Thankfully he doesn't, and we're all good there. But I went on a gluten-free diet. If you've done your research on PCOS, you know that you shouldn't eat gluten when you have PCOS. Here's Marley. So you shouldn't eat gluten when you have PCOS because it could worsen the symptoms. And so I went on, basically what that means is no wheat. So I didn't do any wheat, and I ate meat very sparingly. And just was super careful. Dairy as well. I didn't have any dairy except for eggs. I did have eggs. But so we did that plus that. She wants to say hello. What else did I use?
We also changed certain plastics in the house. We went from using plastic cups to glass cups, from plastic plates to porcelain plates, because certain chemicals, if they're microwaved, may have been linked to PCOS and causing certain harmful chemicals getting the food. And so we just went full safe and changed everything as we could.
Yeah. And I did my research. I did probably more than I should have. So I was, YouTubing and just Googling every little thing. I know Jared and Ellie, their channel is awesome. Like, I love watching their videos. But those are some tips that kind of helped us to, conceive. But there are other things. So while I was taking Fermera, I have never had regular periods, so I had to take something called metformin, I think it's called metformin. And it basically just got my periods going every month. So I would take that, and on cycle day 3, I would take the Fermera. And then would stop when I reached cycle day 10. And at that point, this is another thing that helped me to get pregnant. They would do a scan and ultrasound and to see if my eggs were developed or not. And then that way is great too, because they can tell you how big the egg is. And obviously the bigger the egg, the higher of chance you get pregnant. So that is probably the biggest thing that helped. And the last thing that we did was something called a trigger shot. The trigger shot basically just releases the egg. So within, you said, I think
it was 24 to 48 hours. 24
to 48 hours, you had to have intercourse. And that's just the way the trigger shot works. You just insert it. It's a small needle. You insert it into your stomach. It's super easy. Here you go. So just kind of a brief, look back on us. We had been trying, saw the infertility specialist, and then we did get pregnant the first time we used Fermera randomly. And we went to our 6 or 8 week checkup, and we saw a heartbeat. We got super excited. And then we, I just lost my train of thought. So we got super excited, and the next time that we went in, they could not find a heartbeat, and our hearts just broke at that point. We had a really hard time. Like, I was super depressed. So was Benner, but he tried to put on a face like he always does. What do you have to say on that subject?
Yeah, it was just super hard, super depressing, trying to be able to help Heidi any way she can. She was going to school, and so she was just trying to be active as she can and try to help her where I could, bring her food, because it was very hard on her body.
I would honestly just sleep so much because I was so depressed. So we know what it's like to be there. We know what it's like to try and nothing happens. And you see all your friends having babies and you just want to start a family of your own, but you can't. And So, I don't know. That's kind of why we're making this, because we wanted to help and tell you guys what works for us. What else was I gonna say?
I think that was it. We covered most of
No, I didn't do the bear yet. So we had the miscarriage, and I wanted to do something that got my mind off of trying to have a baby. And something that I loved. So I love doing hair. And so I decided to go back and finish cosmetology, get my license, and just not focus on having a baby. And that's when we got pregnant. And so we were just so happy when we found out the news. And hi, Marty. I'm like losing my train of thought.
And some of the things that helped motivate us to keep us going were this little
Oh,
build-A-Bear
yes.
we did.
Okay, so after we had the miscarriage, we needed something to give us a little hope. And so we were at the mall one day and we went to Build-A-Bear. And we were like, you know what? We're going to make a bear. So we made this little bear, and we said, you know, one day we're going to have a baby. And we are going to give this bear to our baby. And so what we do, we put this bear on our dresser, and we saw it every day when we woke up, and so it gave us, you know, that hope and motivation to don't give up, and someday that we knew we would have a family. Hi.
I got it. You keep talking.
And so, you know, when I was sad, I'd always like hold it, and it just, you know, gave me comfort, gave us comfort and motivation. And so yeah, I just, you know, I think the hardest part is just seeing everybody, you know, your friends, your family, like having babies. My sister, who was 18, had a baby 2 months after she got married without even trying. And I just remember just feeling so hopeless thinking it wasn't going to happen for us. And just don't give up. Something will happen. And, you know, we have a happy ending. And, you know, we just wanted to share our story to maybe help somebody else out there who was going through the same thing, doesn't really know much about what they're going through. Now we have a happy, healthy baby girl. This is Marley, and she is now 5 months. She's healthy as can be. She was premature, about 4 weeks premature, but she has had no issues, no complications, just happy little baby. Huh? Yeah. So that's our story. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye.